Hello and welcome to this English language development series, Wisdom for Confident and Fluent English in 1 Year, in which we're reading short texts from this book, The Everyday Wisdom of Thich Nhat Hanh, Zen master, peace activist, writer, poet, and founder of the Plum Village tradition. All the texts are self-contained and not in any chronological order. There are 365 selected texts from Thich Nhat Hanh's many writings in this book, and we're focusing on the first 52. So you can watch any of the videos at any time. If you're new here, you're very welcome. In this video, we'll be diving deep into the nature of reality. How can the nature of reality help you become more confident and fluent in English? Let's see how today's text sparks ideas and motivates you to interact with me and with others in the comments box below. Are you ready? Let's get started. If you haven't done so yet, click the subscribe button and invite the bell to be notified every time I upload a new video, which will be relevant to you if you're looking to become more confident and proficient in English. And if we haven't met yet, my name is Tanya Meyer, and I'm an English as a foreign language teacher to adults, specializing in mindfulness practices to bring clarity, joy, understanding to your English language acquisition and use. Mindfulness is the practice of stopping and looking more deeply. And many times what we want to do is go, 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 but sometimes the best thing to do is actually to let go, to stop, and to look and see what is going on within me and around me so that I can create conditions that are conducive to learning and using English the way I want, the way I need in my real life context. As usual, we'll be reading today's paragraph out loud together. Why? Because reading out loud in English is going to help you to produce the natural rhythm and cadence of English, especially if you're following somebody who is reading it, in this case, myself. So try and read along with me as much as you're able. The first time we're reading simply to understand what the text says, so we're reading for meaning. And then the second time we look a little bit more deeply at some of the elements of the text and how they can help us become more confident and fluent, either because of what it says or the way in which it is said. This week's video is actually very deep in terms of understanding, and so we'll be looking at content more than form, because the content of today's video can generate a lot of ideas and discussion. After that, I'll share some of my reflections and I'll invite you to do the same in the comments below, because thinking and reflecting and then getting sufficient clarity to put an idea together in writing is probably one of the most sophisticated things you can do in a language, and already a sign that you are incorporating it at deeper levels, especially when it comes to abstraction, which is what we're looking at today. Okay, as usual, a quick reminder that we're reading the words of a Zen Buddhist monk, but you do not need to be Buddhist to benefit from these texts. And in fact, being a Buddhist monk, this text contains the word God. Now, Buddhism is a non-theistic religion. It's also a philosophy and a lifestyle, but as far as religion is concerned, Buddhism does not believe in a creator God. And so it's very interesting that a Buddhist monk should be using the word God in his texts. Don't you think so? Okay, so this is week 8 and we are looking at text number 8 called Suchness. Remember to read out loud with me. Practice using your English mouth muscles. Suchness. The word suchness describes reality as it is. Concepts and ideas are incapable of expressing reality as it is. Nirvana, the ultimate reality, cannot be described because it is free of all concepts and ideas. Nirvana is the extinction of all concepts. Most of our suffering arises from our ideas and concepts. If you're able to free yourself from these concepts, anxiety and fear will disappear. Nirvana, the ultimate reality, or God, is of the nature of no birth and no death. It is total freedom. Okay, so now let's read it together again. Try and follow along, paying attention to the English rhythm and sounds that you produce. And let's see what associations we can make after that are useful for us to make progress with our English. Maybe you already have some ideas now. I'd love to hear them. So here we go. Suchness. The word suchness describes reality as it is. Concepts and ideas are incapable of expressing reality as it is. Nirvana, the ultimate reality, cannot be described because it is free of all concepts and ideas. Nirvana is the extinction of all concepts. Most of our suffering arises from our ideas and concepts. If you're able to free yourself from these concepts, anxiety and fear will disappear. Nirvana, the ultimate reality, or God, is of the nature of no birth and no death. It is total freedom. Okay, what is your understanding of this week's text? Practice your writing skills by posting a comment below. Okay, so here are some of my ideas. You know, when we start practicing stopping and looking deeply into the nature of our experience, it isn't long before we realize that we are not our thoughts. And this is one of the fundamental insights we need to be able to make any sense of this text. We are not our thoughts. And unless we've been able to experience that, then all of this text might be incomprehensible. And that's okay too. If you're watching this video, there's a spark of curiosity there. Like, what do you mean that we are not our thoughts? What does it mean to be beyond ideas and concepts? What is the nature of no birth and no death? And by the way, if we're not our thoughts, then we don't need to believe any of the thoughts we have that prevent us from becoming the confident, fluent, and proficient user of English that we want to be. But back to the text then, and what does it mean to be free of all concepts? If we try and think about being free, then we're caught in thinking about being free. We're not actually free. So anything that takes attention away from thinking sets us on the path to freedom from thinking. And so, as the text says, let's make no mistake that it's in great part due to our thinking that we're unable to realize our dreams and aspirations, like making progress with our English, for example. We feel anger and frustration because we cannot say or do or be ourselves in English. And this is just one of the many ways we get caught or trapped by our thinking. If we see our thoughts or our thinking mind as a continuous stream of random thoughts that are not particularly helpful because they're not necessarily connected to the reality that we're living at that moment, we can say that what happens in our everyday waking life is that we get trapped or caught or hooked by the thinking mind, and we confuse those thoughts with reality because we don't know that we're trapped. So it's a little bit like when we're dreaming. We don't know that we're dreaming, but the reality is that we're in bed and we're asleep, right? But what it feels like is that we're experiencing whatever the dream is showing us. And in the same way, most of us don't realize that we're trapped in this trance of thinking when we're awake. I mean awake as in not asleep, but we're not really awake because we're caught in this stream of non-stop thinking. And so we think we're awake, but we aren't, because most of our energy is being consumed by these thoughts that we're having, and not by the suchness of the present moment. So how do we wake up, even though we're awake, not asleep, from this trance of non-stop thinking? The first step is to generate sufficient awareness within ourselves to be able to distinguish between thinking and reality. There's a very subtle shift that happens when we're fully present, compared to when we go about our business in our usual state of busyness in the mind, which actually keeps us in a state of unawareness, even when we're not physically asleep. We generate awareness by stopping and observing and recognizing our physical, emotional, and mental state regularly, so that we can be in direct contact with deeper aspects of ourselves and receive the communication that this deeper aspect is continuously providing us. This information, together with the spaciousness that comes with awareness, gives us clarity and discernment and helps us navigate our day-to-day lives much more skillfully. I was recently on an online event where the speaker asked us to take 5 minutes to move from where we were in our computer. It was a Zoom event, to move from our computer to a place nearby. If we were at home, to the kitchen, or if we were at an office, to another area, and then to pick something up and bring it back. And we were to take 5 minutes to do this, but instead of just moving from where we were to the place and grabbing the thing and coming back, so instead of having this forward thinking mind of, oh, I'm going, I'm picking that up, and now I'm coming back, we were to actually move without any hurry and paying attention to every step. So without wanting to get to the destination, just enjoying every step as we moved slowly and purposefully from where we were to the place where we were going, and then picking something up with all our attention, and then walking back slowly and mindfully. And this exercise really can give you a very clear idea of the difference between the way in which we go about our day to day and what becoming aware of our mental and emotional states at any moment means, free from the thinking and conceptual mind. So once we're free from this conceptual thinking, the second step is to see that nirvana, the ultimate reality or God, is of the nature of no birth and no death. All of these refer to the suchness of reality, the way things are, the rules of the universe. And I become filled with gratitude and joy when I feel in tune with those laws, with the nature of reality. And I'm able to contemplate the beauty and wonder of the world around me. The sky, the clouds, the trees, flowers, animals, plants, Mother Earth. What is your take on this week's text? I'd love to hear from you. And if you're ready to connect to your own deeper self and allow the power of the universe to support you as you truly transform your English skills, check out the link about my ongoing English training program in the description below. This is what I love, to help people become more confident and fluent in English by going beyond the intellect and experiencing their own transformation. And remember to download your own copy of my free guide, How to Revolutionize Your English, 8 Steps for Success, filled with tips and strategies that you can put into practice straight away to start making progress with your English in small and incremental steps. And I'll see you in the next video for week 9. Remember to invite the bell to be notified when I upload it. Take very good care until then. Bye for now.